Hello everyone and welcome to Medicated Housewife DIY where crafting and mental health come together. My name is Sarah. Today's video is a Valentine's Day wall art DIY using Dollar Tree and other supplies. We are making 4 absolutely beautiful high-end Valentine wall art and gift DIYs that you're gonna love, so stick around. And let's go make some stuff and jump right into this. In today's DIY video, we are making 4 high-end Valentine's Day wall art and decor projects using Dollar Tree and other supplies. These Valentine's DIYs are truly gorgeous, super impressive, and very easy to do. They'll fit perfectly into all kinds of home decor and they make beautiful gifts. So buckle up and let's get started. For DIY number 1, I'm using this large foam heart from Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint it with this apple barrel acrylic paint in Beachcomber Beige. I will link it for you in the description box below. I'm giving the heart 3 very generous coats of this beige because the texture on these foam hearts is a little funky. And I'd like to get as full a coverage as I possibly can. I can't really cover up the texture, but I am hoping I can make it work into the design somehow. While the heart is drying, I grabbed this leather repair tape I got on Amazon, I will link it below, that I also used in my pumpkin video, which I will also link below in case you haven't seen it, but I originally bought it because I couldn't find any of the faux leather ribbon at Dollar Tree, so I used this instead. It's basically faux leather duct tape. It's very sticky, but I really like the leather look of it. So I'm going to make this tape look like leather straps. And I had some sticker back paper. That's the non-stick paper that your stickers or vinyl comes on. And I put the tape down on that in like 12-inch strips. It's not an exact measurement, but around 12 inches. And then I cut each tape strip in half to make 2 strips. Then I folded each of those halves over on both sides so that you really can't see the tape part on the edges anymore. Hopefully this will give them more of a strap appearance rather than looking like a thin piece of tape. And just a note, I do remove the non-stick paper as I fold over the sides of the tape strip, and they are self-adhesive, so each side sticks to the strip on its own, if that makes any sense. I think you know what I'm trying to say here. I think I ended up with about 4 or 6 faux leather straps at the end. So now I grab some of my Dollar Tree gold thumbtacks and I take one of the leather straps and I use the thumbtacks to attach it down the side seam of my heart from the top to the bottom. There's no glue needed. We are just using the thumbtacks to hold it in place, and they do hold it quite nicely. It's super easy, not at all messy. You gotta love that. Also note that you can space the thumbtacks out any way you like. I think I had about 1.5 inches between each tack, but that's not written in stone, and if you need to cheat a little on that to make everything fit, it's really no big deal. So after I did the straps on the sides of the heart, I felt I needed more, but with thinner straps. So I cut each leftover strap down the middle to make 2 thinner ones, and I decided to attach them down the front middle and the back middle of the heart, like right through the crease. I think the thinner straps look so much better there. And again, I'm only using thumbtacks to attach them, no glue, and the hearts are made of foam, so easy peasy. After attaching the 2 middle straps, I decided I wanted even more. So I played around a little with the straps and ultimately decided to attach 1 strap on each side, going up from the middle strap and then up over the 2 puffy sides of the heart. And I ended the straps at the side seam at the top, as you can see right here. And then off camera, I also added another small piece of strap in a little loop, and I added that to the back with a thumbtack to use as a hanger for the heart. And this is how DIY number 1 turned out. Look how unique this is. It is so Ralph Lauren equestrian looking. I totally love it. And with the straps on it, I'm not even bothered by the foam texture under the paint. Honestly, if you look at it in a certain light, it may even have a little bit of a leathery texture. Okay, maybe that's wishful thinking on my part, but it does look really high-end and like an expensive decor piece. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. For DIY number 2, I started with this white glittery reindeer ornament from Dollar Tree for Christmas, and I gave it a generous coat of Mod Podge because I want to cover every little speck of glitter. I don't want to see any glitter in the final product at all. So I coat the reindeer and then I'm going to let it fully dry. Once that dried, I then gave it a coat of folk art white chalk paint. And I think I just did one coat. That's all it really needed for full coverage. And I waited for that to fully dry as well. Once the chalk paint dried, I grabbed my Waverly Antique Wax and I gave the whole reindeer a full rough looking coat of the antique wax. Then I waited for that to dry, and for some reason, I don't have the footage, I apologize, but once the Waverly Antique Wax dried, I then took a dry brush and I did a rough dry brushing of the Apple Barrel Beachcomber Beige, and that's the same one that I used in DIY number 1 for the foam heart. I only lightly painted the head and the body of the reindeer, but I left the antlers dark from the antique wax, and then I put that aside to fully dry. Then I applied about 6 pieces of painter's tape overlapping onto some wax paper, and I traced a heart that I had printed out. It's just a basic heart. You can get it anywhere, and you could easily use a Cricut or Silhouette to just cut out some contact paper or something like that. And we're going to use this for a reverse stencil. I'm then going to cut it out, and I removed the wax paper. I stuck it onto one of those small bamboo cutting boards from Dollar Tree. Once the tape heart is adhered to the cutting board, I take my Waverly Antique Wax and I paint everywhere else on the cutting board besides the taped heart, including the sides, but not the back because this is a wall hanging and no one's going to see the back. I only needed one coat of the antique wax and then I waited for that to dry before removing the taped heart. I was happy with how the unstained heart looked, and I wanted to have some kind of wild, crazy, viney looking wreath, but I wanted it to be heart-shaped, so I got this amazing rope on Amazon, and I'll link it below. It looks like rope, but it's really wire, and it keeps its shape, so I cut a piece off with just a regular scissors, and I formed a heart shape to fit the outline of my heart on the cutting board. I then cut 2 more pieces of rope wire and I began to loosely and like sloppy wrap them around the rope heart. I wanted the wreath to look like really unruly. That was my goal. Once I wrapped the heart a couple of times, I felt it needed some green, just some color. And I had this roll of twine that I had these little tiny leaves on it, and I got this for another project. I'll link the twine below, but I decided to use it for this too. And I cut a piece off and made a small knot, and then I wrapped that, around the heart pretty loosely, but just all the way around. Now, I do want to say that you don't have to use this wire and the leafy twine that I used. You can totally do this with regular rope and any other kind of greenery. You would just have to wrap everything first and then shape it into the heart shape and then attach it to the outline of our heart on the cutting board. After I wrapped the greenery, I cut yet another piece of the wired rope and I wrapped it again, just trying to make the heart look as wild and untamed as I possibly could. And then once I was happy with the look, I used a couple of small dabs of hot glue to hold the wreath in place, just outlining the heart shape on the cutting board. Then off camera, I used hot glue to attach the reindeer to the cutting board inside that heart. And I also hot glued some nautical rope to the back of the cutting board just to use as a hanger. And this is how DIY number 2 turned out. You guys, did you ever want to scream out loud because you were so happy with how a DIY came out? This is how I feel about this, but I promise you I won't scream. I never expected to like it this much, but I think this is gorgeous. I don't know if it's rustic or boho or whatever. It's just beautiful. How stunning would this be hanging on your wall? Who would you want to give this awesome gift to? Let me know in the comments if you even feel a fraction of the way I do about this particular wall decor. Ugh, it's amazing, truly. Moving on to DIY number 3, I saw this wall art for sale online for like over $800. $800, that's crazy and totally out of my budget, but I do love, love, love the combination of blue and gold. So I decided this would be a beautiful and easy wall art to do. So here we go. Using an 8x10 canvas from the Dollar Tree, I sketched out a skinny heart with pencil. Okay, I'm lying. I didn't sketch it. I traced it. There. I'm owning it. I'm not ashamed. So, got my heart on the canvas, and I had these turquoise blue glass shards in my stash. They're from a video I did DIYing some Geode candle holders, which I will link for you below if you haven't seen it. But I got these a long time ago, so I will look for something comparable to link below for you to use if you want. And also, when I say glass shards, they're not like dangerous sharp glass shards that could cut you. These are not sharp. You won't hurt yourself. People use them as vase filler and fire glass and stuff like that. So don't worry about cutting up your hands or anything like that. That's not the case here. I'm using Gorilla Hot Glue, and I'm starting with the outline of the heart, putting down some glue and then filling it with the glass, exactly like you would when you're working with glitter. You fill in the glue and then you brush off the excess that's not glued down, and you go back and you do it again. I'm going to glue all the way around, and then when the outline is totally done, I'm going to fill in the entire middle of the heart with the glued glass. Once the heart is filled with glass, that is such a poetic line, isn't it? Once the heart is filled with glass. But I digress. I'm going to stay on track here. Our heart is filled in, and it's time to outline it with gold. I had a couple of different gold metallic acrylic paints, but most of them seemed too antique-y gold with like a slate greenish tinge to them. I had one paint that was a really bright metallic gold, and that's this Jacquard Lumiere. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I will link it for you either way below. So I got a small brush and I brushed the gold all around the glass heart. I wanted to paint a small bit on the canvas to really emphasize the gold color, but I also wanted to paint plenty of the glass shards as well. And because we're painting a metallic on glass, I did have to go and do about 3 coats just to get that metallic gold color to be opaque and solid. And this is how DIY number 3 turned out. Just to remind you what our inspiration $800 wall art looked like. I mean, come on, this is a great dupe. Now, granted, the original is much bigger and also it's framed in glass, but still, this is really close to that. I love the blue and gold colors together, and it's a lovely, colorful way to express Valentine's Day. This would make a great gift and also could be used any time of year as colorful, artsy decor. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you'd hang on your walls. DIY number 4 is actually not wall art, but a designer inspiration trinket box for Valentine's Day. We're using a heart-shaped paper mache box from the Dollar Tree, and the first thing we did was to paint it with apple barrel glossy white acrylic paint. I did 2 coats to fully cover the entire box. When the white paint dried, I got out my painter's tape, which is 1.5 inches wide, and I cut the strips in half to make them 3/4 of an inch wide, and then set out to tape up my box very carefully, lining up the top of the box with the bottom of the box so that my lines stay together when the box is closed. After I spaced out the lines, I got out my apple barrel black gloss and I painted every open space black so that I would have black and white stripes. I did 2 coats total of the black gloss paint for total coverage. I also ended up painting the inside of the box, both top and bottom, in the gloss black as well. I had these wooden knobs left over from my Mackenzie Childs inspired pumpkin video, which I will link below if you have not seen it. And I got these knobs on Amazon, which I will also link below. I painted this one with white chalk paint as a primer prior to this project, and I wanted to paint the knob red with a gold band on the bottom, and I only had this bright red acrylic paint from the Dollar Tree, and because I wanted a richer red, I added a drop of black paint, and just a drop, because if you add too much black, you will end up with a murky, muddy brown. Guess how I know that? But I painted the top of the knob red and ended up having to do 4 or 5 coats just to get the full coverage. I removed the tape from my box and had these Mackenzie Childs inspired black and white stripes, but I wanted to add a gold accent beside the gold band that will be on the knob at the top. So I had this gold faux leather cording from that same Mackenzie Childs pumpkin video I mentioned earlier, and I decided to use that to put a gold piping around the edge of the box top. I'll also link the gold cord below. I cut a piece of cord and using Star Bond glue, I put a drop of glue down and glued the cord around the edge of the box top. And this is how DIY number 4 turned out. This is a cute little Mackenzie Childs inspired Valentine trinket box. For anyone that loves Mackenzie Childs, they would love to get this as a gift. It's classic and whimsical decor for Valentine's Day and for every day. These are 4 very different looks for Valentine's Day wall and gift decor. From the Dollar Tree foam heart that we transformed into the classic equestrian Ralph Lauren-ish piece of decor, to the stunning reindeer wall plaque. And you know how I feel about this piece. I love it. And it was made out of a Dollar Tree Christmas ornament, to the $800 colorful glass heart dupe we made on a $1 Dollar Tree canvas, to the Mackenzie Childs inspired heart trinket box made from a Dollar Tree paper mache box. Do you have a favorite? I think you can guess mine, but let me know in the comments which one you love. I hope you enjoyed this Medicated Housewife DIY, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more fun, easy, and beautiful DIYs. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Medicated Housewife, and crafting is my medication.